Trump's trade war with the EU, a new chapter in economic tensions. Old habits die hard, and former President Donald Trump's love for a good trade war is no exception. This time, his target is the European Union, and the situation is heating up fast. Tariffs, retaliation, and economic uncertainty are once again making headlines. Buckle up, because things are about to get messy. Trump is back in the White House, and with him returns his America First agenda. His latest move? Imposing steep tariffs on European goods, from steel and aluminum to cars and pharmaceuticals. And the EU? They are not known for backing down. This is shaping up to be a major economic battle, one where businesses, consumers, and global markets will all feel the impact. How it all started. Let's rewind to January 2025. The world was still recovering from political and economic instability when Trump made a dramatic appearance at the World Economic Forum. Instead of promoting international cooperation, he used the stage to criticize the EU's trade policies, regulations, and defense spending. His words were sharp, and his stance was firm, making it clear that he saw the EU more as a competitor than an ally. Then came the real shock. On February 10th, Trump signed a new policy imposing a 25% tariff on steel imports and increasing aluminum tariffs to 25% as well. These tariffs specifically targeted the EU and were scheduled to take effect on March 12th. Industries across the world were left scrambling to assess the impact, but Trump didn't stop there. On February 18th, he expanded the tariffs to cars, pharmaceuticals, and semiconductors, key exports from the EU to the U.S. This decision sent shockwaves through multiple industries, raising fears of higher prices for American consumers and economic instability for European manufacturers. And just when it seemed like things couldn't escalate further, on February 26th, Trump hinted at possible tariff relief for Canada and Mexico while suggesting a 25% tariff on all EU goods. The unpredictability of his trade policies left businesses and investors anxious as they tried to anticipate the next move in this high-stakes economic game. Why is Trump doing this? Trump's strategy is fueled by a combination of economic nationalism, political maneuvering, and a belief in protectionist policies. There are three main arguments behind his trade war with the EU. 1. National security concerns. Trump's administration claims that relying on foreign steel could weaken U.S. national security. The idea is that if the country cannot produce its own steel, it could be vulnerable during times of crisis. While this argument is debated by experts, it remains a key justification for the tariffs. 2. Bringing back manufacturing jobs. Trump has long promised to revive American manufacturing. He believes that by making foreign steel and other imports more expensive, U.S. companies will be forced to increase domestic production. However, economists argue that tariffs often have unintended consequences, including higher consumer prices and job losses in industries that rely on imported materials. 3. Unfair trade practices. According to Trump, the EU has been benefiting from unfair trade deals for years. His goal is to force the EU to negotiate new trade agreements that he believes will be more favorable to the U.S. However, critics point out that the U.S. also enforces its own protectionist policies, making the situation far more complex than Trump suggests. How is the EU responding? The EU is not taking these tariffs lightly. In response, they are preparing their own set of retaliatory tariffs, targeting iconic American products such as bourbon, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, and agricultural goods. These products were chosen carefully to create maximum political and economic impact in the U.S. However, the EU is also taking a strategic and measured approach. Unlike Trump's aggressive rhetoric, European leaders are ensuring that their actions remain within World Trade Organization (WTO) regulations. This not only strengthens their position, but also allows them to gain international support. The economic damage is significant. Early estimates suggest that EU industries could lose up to 28 billion euros, $9.3 billion USD, due to these tariffs. This is not just a minor trade dispute. It's a full-scale economic confrontation that could have long-term consequences for both economies. What's at stake? This trade war is about more than just steel and cars. It has global implications. Economic uncertainty. The tariffs are disrupting industries, raising costs for businesses, and creating volatility in global markets. Historical trade disputes. The U.S. and the EU have a long history of economic disagreements, from disputes over agricultural subsidies to battles over technology regulations. This new conflict adds another layer of tension to an already complicated relationship. Impact on everyday people. Consumers on both sides of the Atlantic will feel the effects of higher prices, disrupted supply chains, and economic instability. What happens next? The future of U.S.-EU trade remains uncertain. While negotiations may eventually lead to compromises, the current trajectory suggests escalating tensions. Will the two sides reach a resolution that benefits both economies, or will this trade war continue to spiral out of control? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the stakes have never been higher.